14, 14, 15. And I used to see him. He used to come into my room and sort of be like a see-through blue kind of a apparition. And he'd come and sit on the bed. He would never talk to me. He would just sit on the bed and I'd feel the blankets go tight. So I would know that was him. And he smoked. He died of throat and lung cancer. So I would smell cigarette smoke around him. I used to always see lights and balls of light flying around my room. And I'd hear a lot of muffled voices. And that used to scare me. And I used to tell my mum and dad, and they just said I was just trying to get their attention or I had a overactive imagination. But as I've got older and I started doing spirit photography in around 1999, that's when I realized that those balls of light I was seeing were actually spirit energies, or what's called an orb. And I'm a clairaudient, so I'd hear spirit. And so that those voices I were hearing would be like little snippets of conversations and lots of people sort of going, sort of in and out of the room. And I had a very vivid experience 2 nights ago. I was sitting up really late working on something and I went to bed and my head was very busy because I'd been on the computer all day. And I ended up having that kind of conversation in my head that I had when I was a kid. So it was like I was just sitting in a room that was busy with lots of people, all little snippets of conversation coming in.
I'm coming at it from a completely ignorant, but yet fascinated viewpoint. So a lot of my questions you're going to probably roll your eyes at, but please bear with me.
No.
If someone normally says, I'm hearing voices and I'm seeing things, a lot of people would automatically say that person's having some form of psychosis.
Of course.
Particularly, I would say those in the I'm obviously not a medical professional, but those in the medical profession would sort of lean towards that way. How did you know, or how does, I don't know if you could speak to anybody else, but how does one know that this is different to a psychosis rather than, do you understand what
I understand what you're
getting
saying.
at? Yeah.
Definitely. It's very hard because when I was writing my book, Awaken Your Psychic Abilities, when you look up hearing voices, yeah, it means that you are having a psychotic episode or that you're bipolar or you have got mental health issues. But we also call that clairaudience. So we have 5 senses that we see through, that we use on a daily basis. But we actually have 8 psychic senses that we don't always work or think that run hand in hand. So all of us have them. Some of us have them activated more than others, but I think it's a very, very fine line. And I think when you're working on the positive, then you are picking up it on a psychic side of things. And I do think people with mental health issues, or mental illness, or if they are bipolar or schizophrenic, a lot of the time they are picking up on actual psychic experiences, but they may be working more on the negative. Like, you might get a little gut feeling or a little voice telling slow down, there's a radar up ahead, and you slow down and there's one there. Or you might be thinking, I really want a parking angel today. And you're at the supermarket and it's really busy, or the shopping center, and then you're guided to go to a certain aisle and you drive in and there's a parking spot. So we would just say, oh, that's our intuition, or it's like our little parking angels there to help us. But the other side of that too, if you've got getting messages, you might get a message about, just pop into your head that, oh, you're going to see such and such today, or you need to ring someone because they're upset, or you get a little message about someone and then they pop up in front of you. That, is that a mental health issue or is it a psychic thing? I think it's psychic, but I think a lot of the time it's a very, very fine line. And what energy are you working on for that particular thing to be positive or a negative is the other thing to think about.
So your own personal energetic vibration is going to attract either spirit from the light or spirit that's not so light.
Yeah, like it can, sometimes if you're feeling depressed or down or sad, like attracts like. So even in life, you might, if you're feeling down, you might attract more negativity into your life. But when you're more positive, then you attract more positivity into your life. So, there's good and bad in the spirit world, and there's good and bad in life. And I think, when we die, we don't all suddenly get a set of wings and become angels. Not everybody's walking around to you being a devil either. So I from my own personal experience, yes, it's a fine line and trying to work it out. But when you're getting guiding, uplifting messages and positive things, it might be inspiration. You might be writing something and you get positive inspiration. A lot of musicians, they will get positive things, through lyrics, or painters or artists, or authors. So a lot of the time they say that they get inspiration from above, or this suddenly they feel this surge of energy that's giving them positive things. So that's not a bad thing, but then they might not always say it's a psychic thing. So I think it depends what people want to call it, really.